far left pushes all kinds of things that, one would never rationally think an Islamist would be in favor of, gay rights, trans rights, a bunch of, abortion, things that just don't fit, right, at all. And at the same time, Islamists are pushing things, that, essentially quasi-theocracy, all kinds of, conservative dress requirements and family requirements that that you would think the left would never accept. An interesting question to ask, it's certainly in the West, you see, is sort of while there's very clear that particularly on issues of Islamophobia, as they would call it, or racism, they see them as the same thing, and they try to sort of homogenize it all as the same thing, and that any legitimate concerns about a political ideology, such as Islamism, are conflated with being anti-Muslim or racist. They're definitely doing that. But there's an interesting, weird thing here that's happening when you actually see, some imams and, some hardline imams getting concerned that they have all these young Muslims that all of a sudden are, actually wearing rainbow flags and all this kind of thing. So the point is, it's a very unstable alliance. It's a very real alliance. And frankly, I think it is impossible to look at, just the social media feeds of any number of Islamist groups or even leftist groups that deal with these kinds of causes and not realize that there is an obvious alliance. It's very out in the open. They don't bother to try to hide it. They don't even pretend that it's not there. At the same time, what you're speaking of, it is unlikely because it is unstable. It isn't something that naturally occurring. Somebody eventually is going to wind up on the top of this dog pile, and I don't really know how that's going to play out.
One of the enablers of this alliance, would you say, is the lobbying power? Whether it's China or Pakistan, it's an open secret that many of these diplomats have a very good lobbying power in Washington. And that perhaps is a reason why a certain attitude is also reflected towards certain countries.
I mean, I certainly think that's a part of it. I think media actually, and is in some ways a bigger. People make a lot of some wealthy lobbyist in DC that is funding somebody's campaign and speaking to someone on the other side and is getting things done, and that can certainly happen in small things that aren't getting lots of public attention. I think that has a lot less to do with things that are getting a lot of public attention, and I think that to the degree these things get public attention, I do think that media, grassroots activism probably has more to do with it. That said, it is worth noting that in the case of Pakistan in particular, a man by the name of Ghulam Nabi Fai is one of the only people that I know of to ever actually get convicted of violating the Foreign Agent Registration Act. I mean, he was taking tens of millions from Pakistan, funneling into essentially pro-Pakistan positions versus, I'm forgetting the name of the group. It was he's had several groups with similar names. I think it was the Kashmiri Council or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the exact name. But the point was, he funneled tens of millions of dollars into activism on Pakistan's side on Kashmir, and then ended up actually getting convicted because he wasn't reporting that, he wasn't going through the proper channels, went to jail, got out, and is now doing the exact same thing. Now, I cannot prove that he's still getting Pakistani money for doing that, but the point is, Pakistan is one of the few states that has actually gotten caught giving tens of millions of dollars covertly to try to warp American opinion in their direction. Is that still going on? It wouldn't shock me. I can't prove it. I'm not saying it is, but if it were happening, I wouldn't be totally shocked. And the reason I wouldn't be totally shocked was they've been caught before. And you certainly have sympathetic audiences, not only in the Pakistani diaspora, which might be understandable, even if misguided in my view, but also in different Islamist groups. And as you point out, since these Islamist groups are close with other leftist groups, it winds up being a channel to fairly powerful people in Congress and in the administration at times.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. धन्यवाद. नमस्कार.